Falcons for FaZe Clan for our third quarterfinal of the day. Will it be the two-time world champs, or it'll be Falcons with a little bit of young star power to try and recreate that magic? We've got Clubhouse coming up right now.
Clubhouse it is, and what a map it is going to be. It's a bit of a rare treat to see Falcons play on Clubhouse.
A delicacy.
It's certainly a rare thing to see them lose it. It's their 9th preference map. They very often ban it, and very seldom will they pick it themselves. However, when they end up playing it, they are bloody good at Clubhouse. FaZe on the flip side, 3rd choice. So you can look into that and see what you will. Double positive on it, 6-3, that's fine. They played a heck of a lot of club at the start of this year, and it's sort of tailed off a little bit. I'm a little bit surprised to see this be the map that we go to first in the series in itself, but we know that both of these two teams aren't necessarily massive on the old counter prep. They like doing their own things.
FaZe in particular, when you have a 5 that is this consistent, that is just this good, you don't need a counter strat half the time. You just focus on playing your game. But by the same token, that is where sometimes that, only playing 3-4 maps can hurt you a little bit. If you're so focused on refining your game, if you don't have something to give you an edge, maybe you struggle. But that's the thing with FaZe. They always just play their game. It's been 3 years of playing their game, and they've won 2 6 invitationals, made every main stage, and only gone out in the quarters, what, 1 time in 3 years? Falcons today think they might just be the team to do it. And given how they played so far, Ollie, I don't hate their chances.
I really don't at all. Falcons going to be starting off here on the attack. Downstairs we go, as is tradition here with Clubhouse. It's going to be quite the extension, though, that FaZe are bringing out, with plenty of reinforcements going on upstairs inside of both CCTV and Cash. And, of course, just making sure that that garage catwalk is locked off as well. Some real time-wasting operators being brought from the side of FaZe. The roaming 2-round Go-Yo canisters. And, of course, a couple of Malusis, just to stop you from being able to just plainly walk on in, which is likely something that FaZe are looking to do, given that they're going to be bringing Snake. It evades the first round of banning here, and LeakyFact doesn't need too much of an invitation to play it.
No, he does not. Snake has been one of LeakyFact's most played operators over the course of the tournament. And basically, since the loss of Shaiko, we've seen that kind of, the ability to take those 1v1s that lurk, trade hands quite a lot. It used to be Shaiko and LeakyFact. Now, Users will do it, EFAC will do it, Joom will do it as well. But Joom playing the Blackbeard as well, another operator that he's played quite a bit here in SLC, and one he will get very little showtime on in round 1. Cyber, who's playing Smoke, by the way, but not on site with a shotgun. With the FMG9, he gets that first pick, and Handy is hungry for a second. Solotov just outside, but Lucy will drop down. Spends 1B trying to get that roamer, and FaZe feel confident in their early game.
It's an early drop-off. They dropped off after only a minute here. Typically, you'll see teams try and push it just a little bit further, try and get to that halfway point, but FaZe feeling like that could be a big win condition for them already, and just cementing those players down in the basement where they've got those strong power positions. As we're seeing right now, it is only a good thing. Sure, it gives the map control away to Falcons, but you look at what's been removed, it's the Blackbeard. That's a big pushing power for later on into the round, as well as the roam clear.
The Falcons have retained some important utility, not just that Soliton scanner, but Users also. Both of his Dokkaebi calls likely intact for this execute. With all the Bs as well to flood down blue, you would like the Blackbeard. The Falcons have a lot of primary utility to make this a workable execute. But given that's a 5v5 on site, you've got the F-Knots, you've got the Zotos, you've got a C4 and Vulcan packs as well. They still have some work to do before this site is ripe for the taking.
There is a little bit of Ver going on inside the kitchen now, and Brede is going to exasperate that problem for the players of FaZe that are looking to dig in a little bit below. Still a minute left on the clock, so no real cause for concern. But LeakyFact already challenging short and getting himself into Moto.
Just creeping on in, potentially 2 kills could go his way. Got info on 1 on blue, KDS turns his back. Understandable, but he sees a second. No way Cyber knew he could be peeked from that angle. EFAC just sneaking in. How about a third? How about number 4? Not even worried about it. 3v1 now for Falcons. Though a 2v1 as the man himself picked back up. With only 30 seconds to go. He's easily burned by the Vulcan pack. The heat a bit too much for Solid Snake. And in the 2v1, Falcons with 20 seconds to close this out. Souls is just 1 HP. The easiest kill of your lives. But we've seen a lot of crazy plays from FaZe in blue. We just won't see one today. Falcons need to start off strong, and winning the first is about as good as you can get.
What did I say at the start of that round? The utility they're bringing to stop players from just walking in. And what do we see happen? You place that utility out on the map, you then drop off from their own clear because you think you've got the kill onto the Blackbeard, and you're like, you know what? We'll take it. We've got 2 minutes to hold on downstairs. That should be fairly straightforward. They're missing a body. They're going to miss a line. They're going to miss an angle to try and take us on. EFAC sees the gap, sees the space, walks down main stairs, straight through short. Doesn't need to play around with Churchwall too much. It's already reinforced for him. He's got a clear line to get straight into Moto, and the information from the Bees, the backstab from Solotov, coming down those blue stairs and giving him everything that he needs. Opened it right up there. No rotate. Criminal.
Big 4K from LickyFac out in round 1. Getting one on basement as well. Can't get much better than that, especially going down in the opening pick. So now, FaZe move up, try CCTV, go through the motions, go through the normal site rotation. Sometimes we'll see Gem. In this case, it'll be the other. Got a little bit of an extension, I imagine, with Souls bringing that castle. So we'll see some focus over on the bedroom side, I believe. The Falcons lock in their picks. Well, this is an annoying lineup, isn't it?
I think they're both quite annoying lineups, really, aren't they? If you think about it, you've not got all of the really annoying defenders in there. You've got a couple scattered through. The Mute, in particular, becoming increasingly more annoying because of these global abilities and because of how much safety the Mute Jammer provides. But like you say, it's on the side of the attack. It isn't going to matter, though. 2 for 2 on opening deaths for Doom, as once again, we're seeing that big impact operator that Falcons are trying to bring here, not a factor. But again, look at EFAC. He's about to walk up main stairs here.
He's got the Soliton scanner, too. He could find both of these guys. But if it's already been droned out early, all EFAC has to do with F2 in hand is just creep up and take his moment when it arises. Don't shoot the default. Trust your instincts. He catches his own flanker.
Loading new mag.
EFAC, a one-man army over in bedroom right now, but still struggling against 2 different weapons. Running out of support. Cyber's been a big player on the defense, not only for FaZe this round, but for FaZe this tournament. I think EFAC saw Ambi do some crazy work earlier on Solid Snake and thinks he can make it happen, but Cyber, a one-man army as well. Opposite sides of the second floor, putting Falcons in the 2v2.
I think FaZe have done a very good job to stabilize there. A lot of it's come off the back of Cyber. LickyFac has found so much space and value out of that bedroom push at the moment, and he would have been screaming for support. And as the support was trying to get there, Cyber was just cutting him down along the way. Still a 2 versus 2 and plenty of time left. But look at the HP advantage. 2 impacts on both FaZe players at the moment. Even that alone is going to be enough to send EFAC into the grave.
A strong breeze is enough to send EFAC into an early grave, and maybe just seeing the tip of KDS's head, that might be sufficient. Trying to find it!
Oh my goodness!
EFAC in flow state. First 2 rounds of Clubhouse. This man is finding every gap.
Is he on the same setup Ambi was playing on? Is that the secret source? We just got like a NASA computer in that 3rd spot.
They trade a
Vamos fazer as peças combinando pouco de recurso com queimar a parede, tá ligado? Então dessa aí a gente vai fazer uma moça da garagem com o KD de tubarão, o server de bench vai começar o ataque e deixar o choque lá da parede do server, isso. E a gente vai ficar queimando tipo, pra todos os lados. Manter aquela ideia do smoke e o Souls pode pegar um Amai, fechou?
Qual bomb isso?
No bombo do quarto, que a gente vai pegar agora. No bombo da capela, a gente pode basicamente manter a mesma ideia de jogar um pouco mais lá recuado e tal. Só que quando tentar fazer aquela parada de esconder a vaca no teu. Nosso grupo de chamamento do bomb. Tranquilo?
Tá.
E agora, o bombo do dinheiro, cara, a gente tem que segurar ali aquela parada que a gente combinou do cara não ter subido, né? Mas provavelmente agora pode ser outra play. Bora.
The thing about this FaZe roster at Majors that I want to talk about is really quite relevant, considering what we've seen in these first 2 rounds. When they have struggled, it has been against underdogs, who usually go on to lose the Major, might I add. Go all the way back to Copenhagen, it was a crazy run from Volps and Nesk. Go all the way back to Atlanta, Lobin and Maya were having some of the best games we've ever seen on an international stage. And in Manchester, you get Gunnar putting in a crazy performance. And now, what do you know? A couple years later in another major, EFAC is what, 7-1 in the first 2 rounds against FaZe? It is much too early days to call anything. It's Falcons' pick after all. But in a day of individual performances, that has been FaZe's Achilles heel at majors past.
It wasn't too early for FaZe to call the tactical timeout, wanting to try and stop that bleeding, recognizing defensive rounds are right before the taking here on Clubhouse. 2 rounds, by the way, where FaZe have got the opening pick and still failed to convert onto it. Something that Falcons have put quite a lot of focus on and have been very good at is that opening engagement. And I was kind of keeping my eye out for if they were going to play similarly today. And I'm sure as we get into the series, we may see a little bit more of that over on Chalet. But the main takeaway at the moment, 2 rounds, 4 versus 5, big performances, not only from EFAC, but also Brede as well, hitting that 2-0.
Cyber been good as well with this 4-2. The only main performer for FaZe so far, 3K in the last round, and that's 75% of the work he's done. Been a dominant performance at EFAC with another one. This man could not miss a timing. If you broke every clock in the room, he has every pathing figured out. And for Cyber in particular, one of, if not the best defensive players on FaZe at this tournament, being able to nail down basically the one in the 4+1 of FaZe's setup is of the utmost importance.
Jacuzzi wall now opened as well, as Brede is going to be rocking that Maverick torch. Can make a couple of murder holes as well, give a line of sight in onto bathroom, few shots exchanged. Souls still managing to keep himself alive here and conscious of the push coming from elsewhere. This is something Falcons have been good at with the advantage when they've had it. Granted, not in this game, but previous, squeezing and really starting to encircle onto those opponents. That's a layup for Leakyfac, and well, he's going to fall.
He's going to fall, but Solotov's going to move quickly in. Realizing the loss in presence for Falcons, he tries to compensate with timing. Sprinting on into Jim, but Vidiking good for the retake. Lining up the second as Solotov's position, well known at this point. Displaced deeper into bedroom, and he's not finding the gaps that Leakyfac has hit so far. He's got information that can make it work, but not if Handy's free-firing like that. Joom's position revealed, and Joom quickly dispatched. FaZe with their first after the TAC timeout, and finally an answer for Falcons.
Very impactful timeout there, and it really changing the pace of the game at the moment in time. I think it was necessary, really, because you think about how dominant those first couple of rounds were. Granted, a lot of it off the back of one single player, but being enabled by the rest of the team. The gaps still being found by Leakyfac, they're just not as wide. They're not as... it's not like the Grand Canyon of gaps anymore in this FaZe defense. They've tightened things up somewhat. Weirdly, opening picks still going the opposite way. Falcons get the opening pick there, and you think they're going to start to run with it and do some good work. But a couple of nice little double kills, and everything quickly changes.
Don't think anybody's surprised with FaZe banning Solid Snake against the guy who has got 8 kills on Solid Snake through 3 rounds. And again, in all seriousness, one of the most powerful ops in the game as well. I think FaZe, not really any other option to ban going into the second half. On the flip side, taking on the Bandit, Falcons will face some, at least less resistance from the hard breach denial. But utility, again, wasn't really the main star of the show in round 3, Ali. That was just some good coordination by FaZe upstairs.
I think the distraction tactic here of playing Snake in the first couple of rounds opens up a strategy that we've seen Falcons employ exceptionally well, and that has been that Lion play. Solotov uses originally, Solotov switching off onto it. The Lion in conjunction with some more of those information operators is going to be a great tool. Information operators in this sense, not a global, not a Dokkaebi, not a Deimos. You're going to be just rocking the shields. You've got Usus and Joom both looking to try and bring some of that shield action now. And with the way that we've seen that Lion played, I imagine the first kill's going to come through, boom, Lion scan will be hit, and it's going to root the defenders in place and assist them in chaining that advantage.
The Thatcher is what interests me, though, because we don't have any exterior walls as the focus of this attack. It is a basement defense from FaZe. That seems to indicate to me Falcons really gunning for the post plant and looking to disable 2 of those C4s being brought by KDS and Vidiking, respectively. First Lion scanner will go out, no Deimos to track them, but will root those defenders in place and give some good information. Namely that 2 to 3 currently moving around the bomb site. That will leave a couple in the wind. Handy now dropping down, joining the rest of the defense, leaving KDS and Cyber up top.
It was about this point in the round where we previously saw FaZe drop off when they defended this site in round number 1. They had got an opening pick off the back of that. This time, there's no real point. They've not achieved enough yet to drop back and to give up and surrender that map control. Cyber, a little bit of a chance of an engagement there. Isn't going to fully commit to it, though. A couple of pop shots through the wall, gets himself down those main stairs. Still with KDS at the top as a bit of an unknown factor right now.
Whether or not he's unknown is going to be the big question here. You can see one shield rappelling up to the roof. That's Joom on the Blackbeard, who might just hop in the bedroom window.
They know.
KDS, both of them know. We'll fire some pot shots over towards the Blackbeard. Losing the Zotos might be rough. The KDS will try to survive as long as he can. Being pinched by 2 shields. I couldn't think of a worse situation for a roamer to face. KDS will try valiantly to survive as long as he can, but instead, Handy seeing him fall will now look to rat inside a garage.
The question that we can only answer at the end of the round now is, did KDS do enough? Did he waste enough time? Nearly 2 minutes, still with Handy out of action as well. A little bit on the top of these oil pit stairs. He's got a great chance at a few shots onto Solotov, but does just let him past. That's not the end of the world though, because he's still an unknown factor. We saw Falcons react incredibly well when the new 1 player was out on their own, but they had no idea about Handy.
You still look at the cost though. Solotov losing some E1Ds, that might be problematic, but taking down those Zotos, it's still important. FaZe have done good to mitigate the damage, but there is no decisive one for them just yet. Joom locking in after a slow first quarter, trapped in smoke, recognizes his fate and will accept it honorably. Cyber with some toxic canisters, Handy with a couple kills, Bride stuck at bottom main. Handy now with 3. Looking to try and deny LickyPack, double digits, keeping him locked inside a Moto, and Souls will get it. FaZe win 2 in a row to tie things up early on.
Not only was the contribution from KDS enough there in terms of the time that he wasted, but the fact that it was a big distraction and it held resource back from double and triple checking what was going on inside a garage for Falcons. Bit of an oldie, to be honest, stood at the top of oil pit stairs, but Handy, he was dug in there for pretty much the majority of the round, at least right up until the point he gets the kill over onto Solotov. Showed some great trigger discipline in there. Bit of an alarm bell really when Joom gets the kill inside of blue, but it was well reacted to. Bang, couple of toxic babe canisters over there. Another triple kill for Handy.
Handy and Cyber both leading the way for this defensive side of FaZe, and that's not an uncommon sentence at literally any tournament in the past 3 years. Cyber, as I mentioned earlier, one of the best defenders, but Handy pretty consistently one of the best players in the world and consistently an MVP or MVP contender for FaZe at tournaments they have won and lost. This defensive side, then bouncing back after the timeout, just as instrumental as anything Raphael called. Now we'll go back to CCTV and see what adjustments both of these teams will make. Falcons having a preference for the double shield in round 4, considering that things went quite well for them on the first go-around on this attack, though, albeit emboldened by LickyPack on Snake again. It seems they will be keeping a bit more of this execute or plant-focused lineup now that Snake is still banned.
They've got a nice like Swiss Army knife here, really, of tools, haven't they? They're going to be able to get whatever they need to get open in terms of walls, partly due to the bans, partly due to the Thatcher. I look at the Thatcher and I think that's going to assist the garage player. We've got the Wildmine Magnets, we're going to have some Banshees in there. Solotov on the Nomad. It's not a bad tool to clear out that catwalk with, and if you can get in there and start to do a little bit of damage, then all the better. But through the drone hole, that wasn't on the bingo card, and Joom is going to pick up another kill here as an opener. He's been heavily involved in those opening engagements, but he's starting to be on the right side of them now.
Yeah, 3 out of 4 so far. Joom, when he gets going, as we've all seen in Paris, he can make magic happen. 2 big 1v3s at that tournament just to keep Secret alive, and it really seemed like he might just sail them to victory, but FaZe, again, ever consistent, denied them at that moment. But some good team play there to take down Cyber early on. Handy with a C4. You try and bring things back, but a drone slowly drifts by his head. Probably doesn't feel as strong about that decision as he did before. Users on cutoff, just sitting outside a lounge door right now, waiting to see if Handy, or anybody for that matter, decides to go for a walk through lounge. But FaZe have been pretty consistent about these decisions, try to play their life, but as Handy takes the fight, Users is ready for it. Joom next up onto KDS. Now it's Vidaking and Souls, trying to fight back with over half the round to go.
Vidaking needs to be careful there. You can see him coming back up the stairs. He doesn't want to leave Souls alone on the site right now. He has 3 toxic babe canisters. 1:20 on the clock. A lot can be done with that. A C4 potentially would be a heck of a lot better, but Falcons don't need to rush this. They've got the advantage. They just need to leverage it, work themselves into the right position. We've got a bit of a stack up at the moment outside of garage. That's free for the taking. And I imagine that drones are getting moved around now just to confirm that, and we can start to see players taking a little bit more space.
Some utility used by Vidaking in response, sending out some toxic canisters over to the plat wall. SMG-11, not normally the gun we see used on that off angle. Got a lot of recoil for an engagement that is about 30 yards away, it feels like. They'll try their best. Joom slowly being kicked down by some toxic gas, I believe. And Falcons, a minute since we kind of reached this 2v4 equilibrium.
The big problem here is Vitter King. He's got a great line, and June's just going to give himself away. Souls is miles away, but he has been held for about a minute by users. Now Vitter King has to deny.
Has got to deny with no toxic canisters remaining. They'll just have to be with the SMG-11. We have seen some crazy shots. Rexen treating us to a spectacle on this weapon earlier. Vitter King, a little less so as it's windy inside of Cash. It'll give LickyFact the opening to hop in, go for the plant in default. Needs to win this fight on the plat wall player, but Bride ready for it. Falcons breaking FaZe's momentum and have guaranteed themselves an even half.
It's a very difficult job that both Bride and Users do at the end of that round. Users hold an angle onto Jim window for what felt like about a minute, and Bride never really got himself off rappel. Wasn't required, but having to sit there and having to hold that angle and just know that the team is going to get on with the rest of it and give you that opportunity, force that player out of position, it's a very thankless task. Fortunately, they both got the moment in the sun, picking up a kill apiece there to cement a brief lead here for Falcons as we approach the halfway point of map 1.
Continuing their run of success on the opening kills, though that's the first time it actually results in a successful round for Falcons. It's been a game of recoveries so far. That one, the only one that's been successfully converted by the winning team, in this case, Falcons. Now, next up for the final site on defense, moving over to Gym and Bedroom for FaZe's last attempt to tie the half. Doing really good in the middle of things, coming out of that tag timeout. The last thing we want to see is Falcons winning a round without LickyFact going massive. That was a slow burn for Falcons, who won with every position covered, all the utility being used, and everybody on the same page.
Yeah, it's gone from standout performance, it's gone from SR to just a normal game of Siege right now. I think we've seen enough of individual performance today already, and we've only watched a couple of games.
LickyFact taking a peek early. Saw Cyber get a kill from this angle right at the beginning of this series against June. Nobody looking to take a fight like we saw before. It's been a very slight and measured decrease in the early round presence from FaZe, but I think in moments like this, noticeable. Starting things out very aggressive, swinging the main stairs window, trying to contest some of those extremities on Gym Bedroom. Some of the same can be said. We've got a couple players over to CCTV and Cash. It's KDS and Handy currently playing over on the east side. But even then, I think fairly ready to retreat if the moment arises. Not facing any pressure at the moment beyond a hole open in con. Just trying to waste some more time over by Plat. Zoto canister goes down. And again, we retreated to a spectacle early on with some crazy plays, but the back half of this Clubhouse attack from Falcons has been slow and steady.
Really big fucking hole.
Last time we saw this, it was round number 3, and we had LickyFact still trying to just walk in and find a lot of space. That's not been the game plan for the last couple of rounds from Falcons. They've transitioned into something much more traditional now, and it's doing them quite well. Good control now starting to be taken. They're at least starting to burn away some of this utility. Handy, he's used his Zoto canisters now, so the walls, nothing really going to be stopping those from getting open, and you can see now, nice little picture-in-picture. We have Thermite opening up that plat wall. Bit of presence inside a garage as well, and it just forces these FaZe players back. Fortunately for them, nothing's really been opened, so there's no real consequence to that rotate. It's going to be getting opened now by June, though.
A lot of utility that Falcons need to make good on this investment so far. 2 minutes we've spent. We've got Bees, we've got Candelas that we just saw. But time is starting to run out. They're not getting low on time, Ollie, but with a minute to go and they just opened plat wall. FaZe have done a good job at stalling, and Handy done a good job at fighting back. Jube has been having a lot of trouble in this series so far. Got a few kills throughout, but constantly the opening engagements, and now 2 and 3 again. Going down early, Yuzu downed on Metal Balcony as FaZe have stalled time in the early round and now gone big in the late. LickyFact, as Bride finds Cyber somewhere around the site, looking for this solo con push. Has a line on the player, trapped on bedroom door, but with Logi players behind him, and Handy getting another.
Reloading, cover me.
It has just felt like Falcons over the last minute, the last 40 seconds have slowly bled out, and FaZe, with just consistent pressure, tie things up.
Everybody's so well disciplined from FaZe there at the dying portion of the round. No one giving any peeks away, no one trying to make anything happen, and just really getting that job done, cementing the round.
So I didn't know you wasn't dark.
For church, you guys know what they do.
I can explain if you want.
Yeah, I think we don't do too much, you know, just playing a little bit. I think it's more like the way we wanna play, you know. It's just like, the only good thing they did was like just full retake together and playing Agro, you know. And I think like anything we do, if we do together, it's good. Like if we can play for retake, we can play really aggro at the start together.
Yeah.
They mainly like just resume everything. They just push from everywhere. They apply pressure, default phase, and then they're gonna see where's the gap and just gonna push on this. So yeah, for me, it's that simple.
Their strong part, guys, is when they execute all together, okay? They have a really good team play, so that's the only thing we need to be careful about. And mainly for basement, they execute from blue, then church or kitchen dirt, okay? Also, so they do phase attack with Saber on the window, or they can do top floor control with Shield Master, jumping con, okay? For Jim, usually they go direct with ND window, KDS, BB, Office Arch.
É só pegar o Black B e a gente continua lá, entendeu?
Tá, mas você não quer começar na 3-2 então? Tipo, a gente vai fazer pra...
Se for avançar dinheiro, não. A gente vai fazer até 2 se for as outras plays.
Beleza, mas aí o Souls vai de Black e o KD vai de quê?
Pode ir green mesmo, ele abre a parede lá e fica varando.
Tá. Pode ser.
E os de Ace, né? Fora sério.
Isso.
É isso.
Mas pode ser que a kill do vazio seja mais fácil que a kill da garagem inicial, né? Se não passar uma montanha. Do gente pegar uma Eng lá e só entrar vazio. A gente consegue caprichar
Você sabe
nessa...
se o Bri dele joga de biriba ali na minhoca?
Cara, ele varia o boneco, né?
Ah, que ele sempre pega gol ali. Tá falando se ele tá de biriba, tipo,
Ele de gol e joga de beriba.
vai querer ficar no biriba, né?
Bora. Quando ele tá com o bloco de C4, mira, que às vezes ele faz de mira, né? Então bora.
Bora mesmo, cara.
Quick regroup at the half for Falcons and FaZe as we stand at 3-3 for both teams. FaZe moving to the attack and Falcons moving to the defense. Bit streaky so far up until the past round 5 and 6. Based on what we've seen so far, Ali, not a clear lead for either team. I mean, it has been quite a slow burn for the back half of that first, for that first half. And hopefully we see, I think, a little bit more pace because both these teams are quite excellent and it's good siege so far, but I'd like to see a little bit more. I'd like to see a little more of that SR energy we saw earlier.
I mean, even half, so it's always going to be a good game, isn't it? I think FaZe started off very slow. That was evident in the first 2 rounds being taken. Not only that, but the fashion in which those first 2 rounds were won in. It was very dominant again, and it all came down to big solo players. FaZe is not a team that will let one player shine head and shoulders above the rest consistently, and it's been shown here. Tactical timeout, shut down, and now we've got a 3-3 half. Time to adjust, time to reset. FaZe now to go onto their own attacks and to show us what they've got. And of course, Falcons to flick over onto their defenses. It's difficult to say who it favors at this point in the game, and I think it still just kind of hangs in the balance. It's map 1.
It is map 1. It's also Falcons' pick. It's also Clubhouse. Map that I think both teams quite adept on, will be quite experienced on. Do a bit of a tech pause, so apologies for the delay. Souls has had too good of a tournament, so we decided to kick him out of the game.
Souls had a very good tournament.
He's had a very good tournament.
Highest rated player on FaZe coming into the day.
We make that point, but we could have literally said that about any other tournament in the past, like, 5 years, basically.
I think you could do. The consistency's there, isn't it, with Souls? Not often does he get the big, flashy plays. He's just always there. Often last alive. Although Handy's taking that mantle away from him a little bit now as well.
He's taken the mantle from him, and I will say, I still remember sitting in Sao Paulo watching Nighthaven Labs when I saw him miss a few prone shots on the floor, and we all know what happened after that. So Souls one, just as human as the rest of us, but I will say sometimes seems to enter a bit more godlike form than the other players on FaZe. But again, you can pretty much say that about anybody. Vidaking has Monty clutches, Cyber has his solo roams on defense. KDS is just KDS half the time, and that's good enough. Falcons on the flip side. Not really trying to make a new system work, but the loss of Shaiko is always going to be a problem. There's always going to be something you have to work around given the size and the magnitude of a player like that. And so far, attempting to recreate him in the aggregate required a bit of a lower bracket run, but I think that is expected for any team that's made a change.
And what a run it was for Falcons. They ran a bit of a gauntlet through the Swiss stage. 11 maps to get to this point now. And I think that was demonstrated in the opening start of this game, wasn't it? They came out very hot, no messing about, we're straight into it. FaZe had that little warm-up time, didn't they? They had that just period of idling, but it's never going to take FaZe too long to warm up into a series. That much we know for certain. But as Falcons being the team that stands in their way at the moment, you can see it's taking its toll a little bit on those players. I do apologize for the extended tech pause here. Hopefully we'll get Souls back into the lobby as soon as possible. I'm sure we've got a computer or two lying around we can replace with if necessary.
So,
make sure that they are fully set up.
Salt Lake, can you guys indulge me for a second? I want to ask a few questions. Do you guys actually want FaZe to win? I was going to say it because it sounded pretty even earlier, and I was like, there's no way that at a North American event we're rooting for the one Brazilian team who's beat every North American team at this tournament. So just to clarify, do you want Falcons to win? I really just needed to set the record straight because I came in quite mad. I was very worried. As a North American, I was very worried. And we're all good. I appreciate you all for bearing with me and bearing with us as well, as we have, thankfully, Souls back in the lobby. Hopefully, we'll get things underway in just the next 10 to 15 seconds. Clubhouse, it's a tie game, 3-3, as competitive as it can be for our first half. The FaZe have made some good pace in round 6, and as they move on to the other side, are looking to carry forth that momentum.
A lot of ban potential here for the hard breachers. 2 hard breachers removed from Falcons. They're taking out the Thermite and that Hibana. FaZe on the flip side, removing both electrification ops as well. Caden Bandit, see you later. Incredibly high ban rate for both those two at Salt Lake specifically.
5 seconds to insertion.
And these teams are starting to really like the idea of just being able to get stuff open and not have too much to worry about. Of course, secondary hard breach is a thing nowadays, so you can bring an Ace, you can bring a Monty, you can bring a Grim, and you've still got a heck of a lot of potential for getting those walls open. Big problem with that is, of course, a mirror window. Users. I'm sure it'll be looking to be a bit of a nightmare with these placements, and already we can see one on this plat wall, and he'll be getting that open straight away.
Another operator we see make her debut on Falcons defense, or at least on the defense for Clubhouse, will be that Thorn. Not something I believe we saw entirely in the first half from FaZe. So with those Razor Blooms, Solitaire falling back. Now looking over towards the Grim in secret. This is a basement defense. Everybody acts surprised. We've gone here for the first round. So FaZe seeing this, oh, that's awkward. I don't know what you do about that.
You ban the mirror. Honestly.
Well, that's a solution for 3 rounds from now. We are currently in round 7.
There's not too much that you're going to be able to do about that, and Users, that's why you place it there. It makes it so awkward. It's going to give a bit more security to Solitaire down here playing on small steps, and of course, Jim as well. Oh, they've locked him out!
Oh, he just makes it through!
Manages to be saved there. It doesn't stop the opening pick from happening, though. Bitter King is left super low.
I have not seen defenders pounce on a Monty quite like that. I think everybody cheering for those shield changes almost cost Vidiking his life, but FaZe, knowing how strong their IGL is on that Monty, want to keep him intact as we move into the late game. An operator that's often banned against Vidiking for these exact reasons, but putting him to 1 HP, all Falcons have to do is take a step back. They've got a C4, they've got Vulcan packs and Razor Blooms. Sure, maybe a lot of utility for FaZe, Ollie, but that Monty is not nearly the powerhouse he once was.
Yeah, that Monty could be dead to pretty much anything at the moment. Even an impact thrown in a decent location is going to do the damage. We look at this. Secondary shotguns being used for a little bit of soft breach. It's okay if you go in for something a little bit more pinpoint, like destroying one of those fire ingredients, but it's never going to give you the sheer mass that is often required. With 3 bodies here in a very low Monty, you're going to be split in this final push, split in this execute. It's going to be a Moto hatch drop. That much is almost certain. A little bit of a main stairs element in there. Kitchen, there's just not been enough work done in that area.
It's easy as that. Literally as easy as that to take care of Vidiking. Very quick investment from Joom and Users earlier, and it pays off with a C4 in the late round. And if things were split before, Handy and KDS on opposite sides of blue, but Handy almost has 2 line up for him. Users good with that trade. KDS position revealed inside of blue as he moves down Generator. Shrapnel in his leg, limping to a likely round loss. All of his B's gone, no angles going his way. Falcons will answer back FaZe's victory with one of their own.
Very successful top floor hold there from Falcons. They paid a price. They lost 2 bodies in very quick succession, but the teamwork and the synergy inside of Garage was just beautiful to behold. FaZe desperately trying to keep everybody alive, desperately trying to save Monty and destroy the Kiva barricade so Monty could back up out of Garage. And it just wasn't enough in the end to some very loose splash damage there. You can see Souls whacking away, trying to make something happen. Even Users jumping out. I hadn't actually clocked at the time who it was that was trying to save Vitaking, but Users managing to get himself an angle there, probably from downstairs, bottom of blue, to pick that kill up onto Souls, just taking advantage of that confusion and that chaos.
Really great team play from Falcons in the early game there, and of course is closing things out in the late. Got a little nervous when we saw Handy walking down Moto and has the 2 line up for him. Paris Handy does not miss that. Paris Handy gets all 3 kills, actually.
I think a lot of Handies do, to be fair. I mean, give him a couple of rounds time and he probably picks up both of those.
He's also 10-4, so we don't really need to critique too much. Handy having an excellent showing on Clubhouse so far. Cyber cooled off a bit, but the thing about Cyber this tournament, he's at like, I think 120 or so EPS on defense, only about 80 to 90 on the attack. This is by far and away his weaker side for FaZe throughout this tournament. So we're going to look to players like Handy, like KDS to try and pick up some of that slack. Especially as Falcons move up 4-3. They start chaining together defenses. A win on Gym Bedroom, for example. FaZe in a bit of tricky territory. This might be Falcons' pick, but they have let, comparatively speaking, underdogs. Again, we're doing this. We saw FaZe able to break through it last time, and look, Cyber coming in with the reaction, just slipping in through Lounge with a backstab against Joom, who's been having a rough tournament so far.
That's a very brave change that Leaky Fack has just made. In the line of the Monty, chooses to switch over on Scopos. Another kill coming in now. Solotov and June both out of action here. And FaZe in much better shape. They're not getting fooled again by that Kiba barricade trick, trying to zone out that Monty.
Now Cyber ready for it, just moving in through Lounge. Leaky Fack in the difficult position. He's got to fall back. Got to make his way back to the site, join the rest of the team on Gym and Bedroom. A minute 46 seconds to go. What are Falcons' options? They just have to try to take a fight in this mid-game, work a pick back, because you have Users with the C4 for later. But Ollie, we've got a long way to go till we reach that point, and we have a hell of a drone in sight. A direct line on 2 of the remaining defenders.
That's going to be massive, especially with the extra couple of man advantage. You can commit somebody to the windows, you can get somebody in below. Those Bs are going to further that information advantage, and it looks like Cyber might just be going for a walk up those main stairs.
5v3, and they're still adding another dimension, by the way. Still going for a backstab that Users is ready for. Him and Brede taking down the Logi player, and like that, 5 become 2. Vitaking with a shield as well. KDS, the only player with a gun to try to escort FaZe into a post plant. Vitaking quickly moving in. As both one defender in Logi, the other in the hallway. Cyber gets one, but Users with the next. Vitaking's been here before, but the shield changes, make a Monty 1v1 a little more difficult. Being knocked back and forth. Has Vitaking prepped? As he dry ran these changes? Trying his best. Half the round gone. Just gotta move a little further. Users resorting to some destructive ingredients. And still, it's been 30 seconds. Users, tick, tick, tick tock. Can you get it? Better luck next time. Thanks for playing. You lost.
Very unfortunate there for Users. Rounds out the round on a quad kill, but it is pretty impactless. In the 1v1 with the Monty, his only real hope there was the fire extinguisher, and he tried it, but you're going to get stunned as well. So you've got about as much chance as hitting him as he has got to stay alive. Very well played from Vitaking. We expect nothing less at this point from Vitaking on a shield, do we? They've been there multiple times before. The coverage, of course, good enough at least to enable that plant to go down. And another very close round between these two storied opponents. If only that opening portion had gone slightly different. Surprised that FaZe got caught out by it again, to be fair. It's 2 rounds in a row. We've just seen his army throw a Kiba barricade onto the bottom of Garage and expect to get something going.
Gets the kill right at the very end. And it is a hollow victory, unfortunately, for Users. Vitaking, he has been in that position an ungodly number of times. I mean, every Monty has. But Vitaking in particular, I feel like, always seems to find themselves in these 1v1s. FaZe continue stealing rounds back and forth. Neither team a clear favorite at the moment. For Falcons, that becomes worrisome. because Clubhouse might be their pick, Ali, but next up we have a map that is just unbelievable for FaZe.
Yeah, Chalet is no joke for FaZe. The only thing is, and we've said this a few times because it's been no joke for him for a while, the only thing is there's a lot of tape on it, so there's a chance, you know, but FaZe just do the same thing every round anyway, so you can know what they're going to do, but they're still just a little bit better. And Chalet has definitely been one of those grounds that they have proved themselves on repeatedly over the last 6 months. Still a ways till we get there, and I wouldn't put this one past going to an overtime, just given the back and forth nature that we've seen so far. We are really waiting for one team to start to streak away a little bit. It's been big performances individually on both sides. Think back to the last 2 rounds. He's had 8 kills in the last 2 rounds.
And moving up 11-4, first player on Falcons. Did to break double digits on Clubhouse.
We have some time.
I mentioned Joom having a rough map so far. Good tournament, very good player.
Setting up a breaching sequence.
But getting a little bit comfortable right now and taking his time. But a player we will need to see show up if Falcons want this to be decisive. Another difficulty with his plat wall. Selma on, hole opened, impact out. Now FaZe need to dedicate a little more energy to opening up one of the more basic angles and more basic positions on Clubhouse attack. Soliton Scanner will find 3 of these roamers on the west side of the map. But both teams taking their time on this attacking side, mapping out every single nook, clearing every single cranny. And Solotov, with 1 Gurjmat in pocket, might just find himself in a tricky position. He's taking down Cyber early. LickyFac also getting active as Vidiking trapped again. And yet FaZe want to fight back. 2 players in these cutoff angles find their roamers, find their targets. Falcons, they just make it back to the side in peace, but FaZe might have just saved the round.
It's not often that you see KDS missing out on opportunities there when he's playing those cut-off positions. There were 2 players there that he could have locked in. A third now. Just feels a bit slow in the gunfight at the minute. Souls is able to take down LickyFac. There's a lot of information here. Users, he's still got a Yokai drone. Another Lion Scan going to go out here from KDS. Users and Joom now need to buddy up. They know that the Monty is a factor. They know there's only 2 guns that they're going to be going head up with. But there's still 30 seconds, and FaZe have time to gather this information, have time to figure out, okay, we've got one in garage, we now know there's one at the top of red, where's the plank gonna go down?
Trying to put it outside a cash door, as Users baited in, great trade by Joom. And this is technically just a 1v1 against him and Souls right now. Vidiking has the shield up, can push the Azami to the brink on ADS, Joom just trying to find a way through. FaZe, the time is ticking again. They're on the other end. Vidiking, hipfire headshot, and Joom, just 1 more second. How about that, Salt Lake City? Joom's got something to say.
It's been a while since we've seen Joom amped up like that. But he is a player with clutch running through his veins. Somehow I think that might not be the only one we see today.
Somehow I don't. Joom has a tendency to find himself in those 1vx's against FaZe. Mentioned earlier those 2 1v3s that made us all believe. It's why looking to see Joom get active is really important for Falcons in this series. He's not the win condition, don't get me wrong. This is a very, very even team when it comes to skill and impact. But Joom in these big moments in the past year, on Secret especially, has made magic happen. A 1v3 there for FaZe to put Falcons back in the lead. And he got a little dicey there, let's be honest. The knife as Souls is looking at him, we all panic a little bit. But Joom is fired up after round 9, showing FaZe that they will have to do a bit more work than that.
Round 10 it is. With a 5-4 scoreline, this becomes a pivotal round. A chance for Falcons to put themselves onto a map point.
5 seconds left before
cement their own map choice inside this best of 3. FaZe have already used their timeout. They're not looking a million miles off the pace, let's be honest. That was down to a very tight 1 versus 1, as a couple of the rounds have been already leading up to this. It's been a game of individuals so far. Joom in the last. Next 2.5 minutes, we'll find out who it's going to be here inside of round 10. I'm sure it's going to be somebody. But at least for the start, we've got LickyFac playing upstairs. Solotov inside of stock, hatch open. So happy to roam up here for a little bit of time, surrendering that hatch and saying, look, we know you're going to get it. We know that you'll bring some secondary hard breach. We're accepting of that. We would rather try and hold out a little bit longer and just waste a bit more time. But there is an option for something quite direct here with Dirt being soft and Viking already marching down, not only on the Blackbeard, but with the diffuser.
We have to be careful in this position, though. You and I have seen this go awry a couple times before, all the way back in phase 1. Blackbeard moving down and defenders just start piling into Dirt, and they all line up for the shield. This time, though, Viking might be Vulcan Packs and a player in front of him. It's Joom to go down first. Again, he has been involved in so many of these opening engagements, and unfortunately, losing them more often than he's won. We've seen what can happen when he survives to the late round. That has not always been a given or a guarantee for Falcons. Now an advantage. Mentioned those roamers, Licky this is a consistent position on a consistent operator for him to play. He's been tracked, but has fallen back in response. Now Solitaire, basically the last vestige of this roam, right on the hatch, will quickly drop down. Right at the minute-and-a-half mark, still got 50% to go as Falcons setting up the second layer of this defense as FaZe think things through.
I quite like that from Brede. Pocket Goyo canister. He might be able to stop this hatch from getting opened as well. He is going to destroy the Selma. There are 2 tin openings on KDS, but that's going to mean he's got to rotate around to get into a position to use those. He will commit one to Moto. That's fairly standard. If he wanted to, Leaky Fact does still have a couple of impacts. If Kitchen Hatch remains closed in this round, it's going to be devastating, especially with the work that's already gone in towards that Dirt side. We are starting to see a bit of a rotate off now. It could be more based around that Moto and that blue side.
Ooh, Leaky Fact. This man has flanked so many times, he knows when there might be a gap in the defense. Quickly checks Dirt. And that is one whole dimension of this attack that Falcons no longer have to worry about. It is a Moto and blue push in all likelihood, and this is a position Falcons, most defensive teams on Clubhouse, have been in many times before. Grim coming down blue, we get Licky Fact still stopped by that. King finds an angle around the bomb chassis, and Falcons, even with that information, even with that foresight, are no match for FaZe.
Yeah, they just capitulate under the pressure there. FaZe recognizing the win condition, it isn't getting Kitchen Hatch open. Instead, it's pushing through Moto, it's pushing down blue, and it's fighting them where they are a little bit weaker.
With Monty and Snake, now I feel like they're gonna play more FaZe, you know, pushing for everywhere. So I feel like for basement, you can still play aggro, but you have to fall back together and then be strong inside later. We can even start doing clash plays, even for Jim. I think now we play more to fallbacks, more traps around, and we play the late round, you know, because they're not gonna like just do default, really default anymore, you know, because they don't have Monty, they have Snake. If you guys still wanna play aggro, just fucking mute on your guys' feet, and that's it. You can even bait on Jim to play like Solis, and then you don't stay bar, you stay above, and someone else stay bar, you know, because the hand is gonna track you, just fuck you.
Right now we can just do the strap with Azami Jim. I think it's good. I think it's good.
You don't wanna go basement. I think basement clash could be
Jim. Okay, basement clash.
Yeah, basement clash. I'm gonna play
go mute.
For those in the arena, they were rapidly deciding which site they were going to right up until the end of that TAC timeout. It literally swapped like 5 or 6 different times what Falcons were thinking about. Starting to feel a bit of that pressure against FaZe as not a single team has won 2 rounds in a row since round 4 from FaZe. It has been completely back and forth. Falcons have been leading, though, pretty well. I would say, Ollie, they consistently seem to be able to get it. And if they can this time, they'll be on their map on 6 rounds, and we'll just need 1 more after that to close things out.
I think the word is frantic for how that timeout was going. They always speak quite quickly anyway, because they've got a short period of time, and it's about relaying as much information as possible. There was a bit of an unsure call as to whether it was going to be downstairs in basement, upstairs in gym. Are you going to bait out on the Solace? Are you not? Are you going to spam the clash? Which angle are you going to be going for?
Spam the clash.
The big addition in this lineup for Falcons, you've got the clash, and that's the one that I think a lot of people will be drawn to. For me, it's the mute. Mute jammers at your feet. You can do so much with that. Those Deimos scans, that death mark is pretty useless if you've got a mute jammer at your feet, or you've got one you can run into and sort of cleanse yourself from that negative effect. So that's going to be a really key piece of utility. See Brede, he's got one in pocket at the minute. He might choose to place that down at a moment's notice, but it's going to be far less about that extension. It's going to be a lot a lot more slippy. They're going to drop off a lot sooner, and if Julio's anything to go by, they're going to drop off together.
It's also a very good read because after Falcons ban the Monty, we see the demos in just one round from FaZe. And I think Julio may be thinking that this might be part of a new look from FaZe, that they'll, at least in the second half of their attacks, bring this a lot more consistently alongside the Blackbeard. Really good foresight from Falcons. Of course, also bringing it in round 10 before the tac timeout. Smute in this clash will do work both on and off the site, as again, we have FaZe creeping up through dirt. Vidiking going a little deeper into the tunnel than he did before. Nade goes through, LickyFat gets ahead of it, chasing the attack outside of dirt. Exercising some of his property rights, trying to make sure that they get the hell out of here as fast as possible. You targeted, but that's just some support for the clash. That's not really going to give FaZe much of anything. LickyFat saw the attack, trying to get a quick play in dirt, and he said, get the hell out of here.
It just batters him back a little bit, doesn't it? There's still a couple of Candelas left around, but that's something that you've drained away. You've drained a Candela. You've also let them know you're not just going to be able to just walk straight down dirt. Potential for a bit of C4 action here, as we do have a player up above Solotov at the moment. He's been using his Zoto canisters to slow down these hatches from getting opened. Oh, that was very narrow. Only just misses out on Souls there, and an attempt at an impact. Second one will go through. Falcons, they are fighting tooth and nail for these hatches right now. They do not want to give away an inch.
And it's not been clean, but it has been earnest from Falcons. They've been trying their best to deny this control. They've done a decent job. They've still got a 5v5. Bunkering so far has paid off, in that way at least. This is where things become tricky. Souls has used actually all of his Candelas, and all of the nades on the attack have been used as well. So a lot of the key bits of utility, wait, all the Capital bolts have been used too. Every bit of utility that FaZe could have to make this a bit easier, it's not as much a factor. They'll need to win this off gunfights. But that's something that FaZe have lived up to before. Ethac with one, Cyber on the quick lurk down blue, catches a timing, but down in the process as Vidiking moves in. The defense has lost control of Church. They have lost the narrative, but maintained the advantage. Vidiking moving up, Handy moving in, has just found a line on one, but Ethac going for the flank. He's been here so many times before! This man's done one thing for 3.5 years. It has been flank, it has been lurk. He knows it better than anybody else.
The prioritization there from LickyFat is second to none. He sees the player inside a moto, knows he could be going for the swing, but they've got the comms. They know it isn't a 3 versus 2, it's a 2 versus 2. And what happens when someone starts to plant? 2 versus 1. And with the time running that low, you have to prioritize the planter. Tell your teammate to stay alive, kill the person planting the diffuser, and just let time do the rest. Masterfully played by LickyFat.
You can literally see him change directions.
He just hears it,
mid-swing. You can literally watch the moment he starts moving into moto, he hears the case open, he pauses and just looks the other way. This will now, we're moving into what, I think his third, fourth full years, the IGL of at least, well, a couple of these players, been a lot of roster changes since then. 2 years IGLing the Solotov and use this iteration, long time with Brede as well.
5 seconds
but
left before insertion.
One of the longest tenured players now, just behind Brede, to be fair.
Attackers are moving out to locate a
has done quite a lot of work for this team. One of the OG fragging IGLs of the modern era of Rainbow Six. And talking about fraggers, been a bit of a rough game for Solotov, hasn't it? 3-12 right now, and Handy 16-7. He calls his bluff within 10 seconds of the round starting.
Absolutely bangs him through the window there. Again, not the most common one, but pull it out in a 4 match, why not? Use a player for me that's had good contribution on the side of Falcons. Granted, a couple of those kills did lead to be impactless, but they are rounds that could have been won nonetheless. Still, for this pivotal round, we are going to see Falcons starting a man down. It wasn't too much of a problem for them at the start of the game, but things have changed, the landscape has shifted, and FaZe have clicked in to another gear now. They're starting to operate a lot more as we would have expected them to coming into this matchup. Oh, this is beautiful. Falcons are so consistently making this Ace's life a living nightmare. This might be the first breach we see opened in the, air quotes, proper way, where you can actually transition through it.
Mirror being banned, probably a big reason for that. to give you a pat on the back, call that round 7. Actually able to open up the plat wall, actually able to open up the jacuzzi wall, but now the clash has changed hands. Instead of LickyFact bringing it, Joom looking to get directly in the attack's face. As Hive's bouncing all around gym bedroom right now.
Setting C4.
FaZe taking their time again. This has been a really slow attack. Opening kills have happened early, but they have used every second they have to set up this execute. Joom taking a little bit of a swing outside of jacuzzi wall will find Souls, who's also not having a great game himself. Brede spotting the Blackbeard up inside of Logi. Handy down below. These kills happening all over the place. It is quite spread out from FaZe at the moment, trying to find where Falcons are weakest.
King, he's trying to be the link with the players that are dropping this Logi hatch at the moment. He's out there on the windows and needs to try and find an angle, but Falcons are not being given a reason to move just yet. We need a bit more info from Handy, and we need KDS to come in with that shield.
KDS to make his way in. Handy might send us to OT all on his own. King also getting active. Cyber will close things out. Overtime between Falcons and FaZe. Wouldn't have it any other way.
Who'd have thought we'd be here, eh? 6-6, nothing separating these two teams. Rounds going back and forth all the way since round 4. Soon as FaZe got warmed up into the matchup, which, let's be honest, it took them 2 rounds. It didn't take them any time at all. This has been a very competitive matchup, as we were sort of hoping it was going to be. It's FaZe Falcons, for goodness sake. These two have played each other plenty of times enough now on big stages all around the world. They're delivering here again inside of Salt Lake.
Handy delivering it in round 12. 18-7 so far. We're almost, I mean, well, we're not almost at Ambi's scoreline because that was 21-1. It'd be physically impossible to recreate that at this point in the game. But Handy almost reaching that 21 kill point. A very quiet game from him. He's only, okay, I was gonna say he's only had a 3K, but he's only had a 3K in 3 rounds. So he's had quite a few good moments. But even then, that's only 50% of his kills. Everything else has been single ones or doubles here or there. It has not been a massive takeover game from Handy. And really, a lot of that came in the first half. This has been just a very steady attacking side from FaZe.
10 seconds to insertion.
He has been a big player in the opening pick. He's had the opening kill in the last 3 rounds, which has really powered FaZe on. Obviously, it hasn't been an indicator as to who wins the round every single time. Both these teams capable of fighting back from behind. But when Handy is consistently finding that advantage, he's just taking a little bit of the pressure off. Everyone on the side of Falcons, I imagine, is going to be tucked up for the first few seconds, not wanting to give themselves away so early this time, as we've seen happen in previous rounds.
Especially user switching to that Scopo. It's just going to try and teleport back to the site as soon as possible. Trying to overstay your welcome. King firing some shots into the jacuzzi wall. User and LickyFact. Duo roam right now. Construction and Cash respectively. Gonna run into that Solid Snake. At some point, the Soliton scanner could find them out.
This is the bait. This is the exact bait that Julio was talking about. Play the mute jammer at your feet. Let's give someone away. Say that someone's out there, that they're going to get caught on the Soliton scanner, but somebody needs to be hidden. Somebody needs to have a mute jammer at the feet and be that unpredictable factor. Force the drone work, force the clear. There's nothing here now. There's no shield that they're going to be able to brute force with. It's going to be on drone work alone, and if there's mute jammers in the way, it's going to be a problem. That is if FaZe directly try and deal with it.
This is a bit of an if, as Users has just immediately gone back to site. I think LickyFact, yep. LickyFact and Joom both on the roam. Just trying to escape some of these bits of intel gathering from the attacking team, but one player sitting outside plat wall. Somebody's got to move at some point.
This is the play.
The whole time.
It's Joom on catwalk saying, look at me, look at me. LickyFact, he's just overplayed his hand there. He was caught in the mute jammer. No one really knew that he was there, and he was hoping to get a nice line off the back of that Kiba. The game's now up, though.
Users and Solitov are joining them on the roam. There are 3 players in CCTV cache right now. The site is basically empty. In fact, I think Brede's in dirt. If FaZe realize this is happening, Falcons might be in a bit of a tricky situation, but they begin falling back. I believe the Scopus is teleported back. Joom retreating down. Okay, they'll bolster the site in the final minute, but that looked a bit shaky for a moment for Falcons.
A bit of an unsure clear, wasn't it? I think the read there probably is that FaZe know exactly what they're trying to do. They know the mute's in play. That was demonstrated by Cyber's reluctance to go in and start to try and make something happen. We didn't see him on the scanner too much because it basically would have been lying to him at that point. Better off now, drop back to the site and force this essential low time execute. There's still a lot of work to be done here. Kitchen hatch hasn't even been open yet, Lynx.
If Kitchen Hatch isn't open at 34 seconds. FaZe will again need to win this one off gunfights alone. They very nearly did it on the last basement attack. Of course, LickyFact found the perfect angle over in Church and just shut that down entirely. 5v4 for FaZe, but Azusis goes for the retake. He's got some good amount of kills himself, but FaZe able to shut that down within seconds. They make it look easy. Kitchen Hatch not open, Breach is not even workable. They only drop one body by the end of round 13.
FaZe are really happy to work very effectively in a short period of time. It was something that Julio talked about in the timeout for Falcons. He said they're happy and they execute. That's where they are. It's where some of their strongest play comes out. And that was demonstrated, especially when you've invested so much into a roam game, so much that just doesn't get cleared because FaZe know. They're like, we don't really want to challenge this. Unfortunately, it was the first kill. LickyFact challenging KDS. That broke the deadlock of defense, saying, look, we're the defenders. We have the clock working down in our favor. You have to push us. And FaZe were just holding for that opportunity. They were holding for that opening. And LickyFact gave it to him.
Literally played the rest of the round out, just a whole 2 minutes it felt like after that opening pick. Actually not, I feel like that's fun. That's actually crazy. Half the round gone after that, now that I think about it. Such a slow attack from FaZe all throughout their side. Now moving to the defense, their one chance at it, their main opportunity to close things out. This is Falcons pick we have right now. And Chalet, a map that FaZe are 11-2 on going into the playoffs. It's coming up right after this, no matter what, win or lose. But if FaZe can just win this one right here, they might be able to seal the series 2-0.
Locate and defuse a bomb.
Falcons, they are going to change their line of approach. They didn't play too many shields in the first 6 rounds. There was 1 round where we saw them play 2. Solotov is going to be on the blitz this time. Doom on the Deimos. They're going to be going for that clear. They know that they need to get into the map very quickly and start to flood these players back towards site, or even better still, send them to the cameras and take them out of things. The danger man at the moment has been handy. 20-7 at the moment, and he's going to be a big target for this first bout of roam clearing.
They want to hunt him down the best they can. Of course, the main target always will be Cyber. It's got Vidaking for support. Ironic, it's normally the Valkyrie we see Cyber playing. Vidaking will instead take that up. C4 coming downstairs, shield goes out. Solotov downed in the process. Joom also taking a lot of damage. If you wanted to clear out this roam, Falcons, you'll need to try a bit harder than that. 3 players going to pick Solotov back up. Now to force Vidaking back downstairs. I believe, if I'm correct, it will be everybody, no, almost everybody back to the site. Silly of me, of course Cyber's holding out. Moto hatch open, but ready to drop at a moment's notice.
He's got the facility to play here for a little bit of time, hasn't he? He's even got the default camera open. Just wants to take another drone down. Just continue to whittle this utility away for Falcons. 1.5 minutes left on the clock, and even 4 versus 4 on the execute. But you haven't got a full HP blitz, and we've already seen how vulnerable a shield player can be when they are at little to no health.
Especially with these impact grenades on the board, especially in all likelihood, this is going to be another slow one, it seems, Ali. This Kitchen Hatch play has been excellent from both teams. Feels like often we see the impacts get messed up, see the Hibana really bait them out well. But so far this game, Kitchen Hatch has been very difficult for the attacks to get. We've always seen these Moto and Blue takes from both teams, and when you see why that's happening or see how it's happening, you get why these attacks are happening with 10 seconds left.
Falcons are still in a pretty good position right now. They've still got users, and they've still got 3 sets of Bs. So they're going to be able to flood in and find out where the players are going to be hiding, behind Generator, behind Kitchen, and behind inside a church. The problem is they haven't got the diffuser, and there's a very short amount of time left now. There is so much information being exchanged here from Cyber in that scanner. The drone's coming through. People upstairs, where this drop is likely going to be coming from. It's going to be an explosive 25 seconds.
Yeah, Solotov's got to make his way in. Falcons as well overall. Need to explode into the site and not fall prey to FaZe, not fall prey to this prowess, not fall prey to the 5-man squad that just nobody can seem to beat. Falcons pick after 14 rounds goes the way of the 2-time.
FaZe close the book on Clubhouse. A Falcons map pick, but one that they are all too familiar on. They started off a little bit slow. There have been people sat at home thinking, this isn't the FaZe that we knew from the group stage that ran through every NA team. but they pulled it out in the end. We've got more Siege to come here at the Salt Lake City Major. We are going to be back with map 2 right after this.
Well, they're the two-time world champs for a reason. In a match like that, the back and forth, the cat and mouse, the adaptability from both teams, FaZe Clan come out on top. It is what they do best. Fox, both teams played an incredible map, but it's no surprise that FaZe are the ones with the victory.
It's a bittersweet moment for Falcons because they played so good. Both teams played amazing. An adaptive masterclass. I was saying it to you guys in the green room that when it was 5-5 and we saw Julio call that timeout, and he perfectly read exactly what FaZe was doing. They transitioned into bringing the shields to hard push into the sites to be able to adapt to Falcons' roaming, their utility, and immediately they say, let's play back, let's play in the site, let's focus on stalling them out, and that's when we go for the flanks, and then it goes all the way to overtime. What a situation. Both teams deserved it. At the end of the day, FaZe is the best team in the world.
Yeah, I mean, that was a clean shot. And even for LickyFact, I mean, they opened up this matchup with LickyFact getting two big important rounds just to put them up 2 ahead. And then even in this round for Joom. And I'm glad I highlighted these two players in particular because they're the ones that are taking that responsibility, that are really being the most flexible and versatile, but it really has been showing throughout that entire half.
This was the dynamic that you highlighted coming in. Joom on this roster, not only playing well and making the team strong, but enabling LickyFact to perform incredibly well. That's exactly what we saw.
I think there's something to also take from it, especially when LickyFact can play on an operator like Solid Snake, where he can gain that info. He doesn't need to rely on the teammates to be able to get that feedback. So when he has that information, not only can he take control of the round, and he's obviously mechanically gifted and can shoot back, but he can also instantly identify where the openings are, how he can find the gap, how he can exploit. And both FaZe and Falcons were doing such a phenomenal job at understanding where they can go for an aggressive play, where they can fall back to, and then playing that trade game. I mean, it really was a game of numbers and just playing that back and forth.
Yeah, that round LickyFact flanked on the basement. And instead of going for the moto guy, Prones goes for the secured on the round win. I mean, we're selling FaZe a little short here, talking about how good Falcons was. FaZe was amazing in their own right on adapting. But I mean, it's another day in the office for them. They were expected it, and now they're going to a map like Chalet, which is their best map.
Right, and they also had the clutch potential on that last map that will no doubt carry over into Chalet. We saw the clutch from Vidiking as well on that last map. I mean, so many things that were going their way.
This is what I was saying, why, like, Clubhouse is fundamentally, that's where it's focused on, is the sheer fundamentals and capitalizing off of mistakes. And the mistakes already was allowing that information coming from Gem, where Cyber probably doesn't sprint up main and get that pick. Now, granted, Falcons did have a good fight back. They responded very well, but it wasn't enough. They were able to take sight from the side from FaZe. And then for Vidiking, a masterclass, absolutely dog-walking uses around the top floor and inevitably giving them. And again, when it's a game of numbers, it's a game of these rounds. That round, had that information maybe not been there, they get rid of it, this maybe turns into a 7-7, and we aren't here yet, and we could be discussing maybe Falcons then wins it in an overtime. But fact of the matter is, FaZe, whenever it comes down to these close rounds, they are ice cold.
I mean, there's so many what ifs, but one guarantee is Handy showing up when you need him the most. I mean, 20 kills. We've been having so many amazing individual plays. First Ambi, we started LickyFact off hot on this map 1, now Handy with 20 kills.
Listen, I can guarantee you that same portrait, that same facial expression on KDS's face was probably the exact same outcome once they finished that series.
Well, here now, Falcons have to figure something out because they're going into FaZe's best map. How can they overcome this and send us to the third?
Playing the exact same.
That's right.
Playing literally the exact same and not allowing as little mistakes as that they were making here on Clubhouse.
At the end of the day, it's FaZe. So either way, Falcons is putting their best foot forward. And I agree, they're adapting so well. The timeouts are coming in perfectly from Julio. Maybe if we can see LickyFact being able to identify that earlier on instead of needing a timeout or faster, that's where we could see Falcons get the edge over FaZe.
Right, that's a big difference maker. You highlighted the importance of that timeout, how right at that moment, if Falcons were going to win the map, that could have been the breaking point for them, but FaZe made the comeback, they sent it to overtime. Lax, if they can recognize the adjustments they need to make sooner, you gotta think that will set themselves up.
Absolutely, but that's gonna be so important, is that they can identify those moments or identify those gaps very early on and realize, okay, FaZe did play an aggressive game before, now they're playing a little slower. That's when we should maybe get a little more aggressive. Or when they notice they're playing a little aggressive, maybe that's when we should fall back sooner and then play into our layers. But again, that really is gonna be on the side of Falcons. And again, for FaZe, you're going on to by far one of your best maps. You're 15-4 on it. The comfort already coming into this. I mean, if we could just look at all the player cams, everyone is just calm, collect. I mean, this is day in, day out FaZe, night and day. They're going to be expected to win this map, but it's not to say that Falcons certainly can't fight for it and push it to a map 3.
I mean, the main reason why FaZe is so dominant when it comes to Chalet is their attacking half. They're very scary on it without really needing to take much of the map.
They do a lot of it outside the map.
They set up on the outsides. They set a lot of positions where if you're roaming, you run back, you get caught. That's where you lose that opening pick. So that's what Falcons needs to go into it, keeping their head on a swivel, making sure they're not losing those opening picks outside the window.
I think even more, especially on a map like this will only amplify how Cyber can move and facilitate around and how he can just pick and prod around the map. They have to be vigilant of that. They have to be hyper fixated on. We haven't seen Cyber on the board yet. Clearly, he's looking for somewhere to attack.
He was playing a lot slower because he was getting caught off guard.
And it's Clubhouse.
Exactly.
Can't do too much.
You're not going to be able to do too much. But on a map like Chalet, again, we've seen Cyber in many positions. And against SR, he had 5 opening kills himself.
Yes.
So that being said, it's very possible for him to take control of a map.
Well, the situation for Falcons here, obviously they've had an incredible run through SLC so far. I mean, looking at this, if they lose this second map, do you consider SLC a failure for them, or can they be okay with this? Because it's FaZe.
I'm going to be completely honest. I do see it as a failure because the whole point of making a roster change was to finally win something. You don't want to keep getting second place. You don't want to keep getting third, fourth. You want to eventually win. And that would be the cherry on top, is if they bring Joom into this roster, they're able to get over this hurdle. They're able to finally get over that hurdle of winning something. And if you go out sooner than later here, I would honestly say it's a failure, unfortunately.
Well, Falcons need a win on FaZe's best map. It is Chalet, map number 2, over to Lynx and XR Troika to see if Falcons have what it takes.
Falcons don't just need a win, Falcons need hope. They need a chance. They need to lock in, because with a map like this coming up for FaZe, basically unbeatable record in the past 6 months. Players that are still playing some of the best Siege 3 years into this roster being formed. Falcons need a whole lot, and a lot of it they can't even control to go their way if they're gonna come out on Chalet.
I quite enjoy how you say basically unbeaten. You want to hazard a guess to the 2 teams that have beat FaZe on this map?
Did I bury the lead a little bit on that one?
I think you may have buried the lead. They beat they lost to Fluxo W7M, but they also have lost to Falcons. Now, it was a long time ago. It was back at the November Major. So there is, I mean, it's at the edge of the data that we've sort of gone to, and it's at the deepest part of the tunnel that we dug to see what we want to talk about between these 2 teams. So how much it means, time will only tell. But there is one thing for certain, and that is that a 10-2 record on a map in this day and age is no joke whatsoever. FaZe absolutely love Chalet. And for Falcons, they knew that going into this. They have left this map open. This is a best of 3. They could have got rid of this map if they'd have wanted to. But they're obviously feeling confident enough to bring it out at this point.
And you can understand a little bit why that is, because if we just had, you know, the wild card game that started off, you'd be like, oh, why are we going to Chalet?
Yeah.
But right at the end of the Swiss, we get a beautiful 7-2 performance against Virtus Pro Ali, in which Falcons did lock in, did get it figured out, and they completely demolished one of the best teams in Europe.
So look at the bands starting to get into round number 1 then. Falcons going to be starting off on that attacking side. Head over to Azami and a Mirror, pretty par for the course. It's the other side that I'm most interested in right now, the Monty and the Snake. There was a combination of Monty, Snake, Lion, and Deimos played in the game versus VP, and it was very, very successful. Brede played Monty in 4 out of the 6 rounds. And it was a massive part of this pushing power. Now, we've still got the trifecta. We've still got Lion, Dokubi, and Deimos. But you're just missing out on one of those elements. And you're going to be missing out on another. As Solotov goes first down again. Handy continuing that opening pick. Prowess we saw on Clubhouse right over onto Chalet. He has not skipped a beat.
And he's hit and made 21 with that kill. Just continuing unimpeachable performance for FaZe throughout this series so far. But LickyFac, he's taking the reins, taking the Dokubi. He's trying to hunt down Handy. We saw him on these blue stairs. He's still there right now. Joom taking the exact position he typically plays on Chalet, and Cyber, how is he ready for it? Joom is standing on the desk trying to avoid the C4. Handy and KDS can only do so much to avoid LickyFac and Usus. Creeping up through the middle of the map, finding 2 kills. KDS and Handy both outside. And now Cyber, equally outside the rest of the setup. He's now in that difficult position that defenders often have to play. Trying to play his life as LickyFax holding his cutoff. A Yokai will give some support, give some information, and push her back with a quick Yokai stun. But he still remains, and LickyFax, one around the corner for Cyber. Going up against Usus on the opposite side. No match for the F2. Falcons with an advantage.
Uses a massive kill there. He's been very patient to try and pick Cyber off and get him away from the rest of the pack. King, he can start to now rotate some of that Yokai utility and get it into a little bit of a better position. They've done a great job of holding out on that extension, but now they find themselves where they weren't able to keep Cyber safe and they weren't able to trade it back. So now we have a situation where King and Souls are left in a bit of a disadvantage here. LickyFax and Usus, yes, they are both low, but there's still 45 seconds left on the clock and still ways of gathering information. Brede, he's got a full wealth of utility, everything to play with on Capital right now.
And depending on how many magnets there are remaining, they could get caught, but they've got some time to go for this burn. They've got time to block off these angles, use these fire bolts. LickyFax, a quick kill on Office Door. And Soul's stuck currently behind the piano shield. Sees one creep in, but this is an easy position to read for Falcons. A much harder player to deal with. And it's just LickyFax for a couple more seconds until Brede can get back up. Hitting the wraparound, Soul sees another, but only so much ammo in that Roni. Even just a quick spray depletes his supply, and Falcons bounce back quick.
Falcons, this is how they started off over on Clubhouse. And as we've learned, it doesn't matter how you start, it's how you finish, but that is the best way that they could have kicked off this campaign on Chalet right now. And it was looking a bit dicey for a time. I think the hold from FaZe in the early portion was fantastic. Again, it came down to a player like Usus. 2 very key kills that he's able to get that just free up the roam game. All of a sudden, bam, don't need to worry about it. We can just start moving forward. Dealing with those players in those lurk positions and not allowing them to get back to site has been massive for Falcons so far. Not only have they been doing it quite cheaply, but they've also been doing it very effectively time-wise, giving themselves plenty for the later portion.
2-man clear by LickyFax and Usus there. Only 2 players with Falcons to get kills throughout that round, and quite literally just moving into the middle floor, carving up the roam, splitting the winnings, and moving on to the site with Brede to go for that plant. Big first round for Falcons to bounce back after a heartbreaking loss on their pick of Clubhouse. You need everything you can get your hands on FaZe's home turf. The first site goes their way. We'll now look to bar and games for the second. One that we saw Falcons, and I think a lot of teams so far this tournament, Ollie, show a bit of a preference towards. In a position that we always see a lot of attention paid to is that stock position. Getting library, making sure you're not exposing yourself to that angle. It's something Falcons will have to concern themselves with.
KDS got a lot of toys to play with at the moment. He's also got King down below. If that hatch is open, which it is, he's going to have a nice line on anyone trying to hop on in. So it isn't going to be so straightforward to clear out this library position, especially given that KDS is playing on that YMI deployable shield, couple of magnets kicking around. It's going to take a little bit more than a line scan and a jump on in. We are going to have to see some utility exchanged over in that direction. LickyFax, you're going to get a chance here, and he doesn't need to land too many shots with that DMR. Sneaks his way in through mud and is able to take Souls down.
Now he's got the blitz moving on in. Usus and LickyFax trying to make basically round 1 happen again. Dokkaebi might go down, but the blitz and the shields in general alive inside the site. Where was this Falcons on Clubhouse? Decided to show up in map late, I guess. We'll take it.
It's a carbon copy so far for how Clubhouse started.
True.
2 very dominant rounds. I just hope for Falcons' sake they don't run out of gas again. Early timeout from FaZe, potentially?
No, surely not.
It worked quite well on Club. Worked very well on Club.
It worked well on Club, but I don't know. LickyFax dropped like a truth nuke on the enemy team and dropped like 8 kills in the first 2 rounds. We haven't really seen that happen so far.
What's worse, though? One player dropping 8? Or Usus dropping 4, June dropping 2, and LickyFax dropping 3?
I think 8 being the biggest number here, and me being a very simple-brained person, I think the bigger number scares the team more than like the diffuse smaller numbers. But what do I know?
10 seconds
Give
remaining.
me a attempt here from King to play a little bit of clash here. We've got Cyber on a bit of a trademark of
5
his.
seconds left.
It's going to be out there on Ella. just looking to be a little bit more self-sufficient. The Grizzbot minds, they can help him to keep control of different areas. He knows that there's been a bit of a want of players getting in through mud, getting in through bar and game, so it's going to be where he's going to start to lay a couple of those traps, at least for the early portion, barricading up some of those doors. Still has all his Grizzbots in pocket, of course. He's going to be playing those as and when required. But it's a big focus right now. And a similar focus as what we've seen from the last couple of rounds from Falcons is getting control of that library and getting downstairs into bar and games and starting to use that to push through the rest of the site.
It's been the focal point for each one of these rounds from Falcons, though in quite different ways. Saw a lurk in the first, shield in the second, now just more direct control in the third. Solotov hopping in, getting immediate lay of the land, then using the drones to then see what's over by blue stairs, see what's over in short, see what's over on kitchen. Jew, hello. A lot of opening deaths that we saw on Clubhouse, but this time, playing the normal library position for Falcons, finding a bit more success this go around. The long angle takes down Handy, a player you have to deal with against FaZe we've seen throughout this series, but Cyber as well. An absolute menace on these defenses. A long angle nullifies the Candelas, and that just leaves the intel for Falcons remaining. Also, a lot of utility dedicated towards clearing out Vidiking on this clash. He has to be careful. He is very, very far away from the rest of the defense. Falcons trying their best to use this utility, but there we go. That's the cross we needed to see. Switching out with the SMG, Vidiking will seal the kill on Solotov. The FaZe not with any clear lead. Reday from the top ropes. Pyle drives the clash, and yet felled in the process. Souls so good on this cross. Souls so good with the TCSG. Licky Fack, can you succeed where your teammates have failed? 3 bodies currently litter short at men who thought themselves capable of fighting Souls sitting inside of dining. No calls, no flashbangs. What are you gonna do to get around this? Intel spotted, playing it so patient. He sees him around the corner. But Souls doesn't even have to move to get 4 kills for FaZe.
Bit of an unfortunate one there for Falcons. They never actually managed to get that site wall open. Just too distracted in the hold, too distracted in the clash, too distracted in Cyber and what was going on elsewhere on the map. Without that wall open, it's going to be very easy for a player like Souls to tuck in, find a very tight angle, and just continue to hold it. Kept Viking alive for a good portion of time on those library stairs, and of course, as we saw, was able to grab 3 kills for his troubles. FaZe join Falcons on the scoreboard now. Scoreline still 2-1, which will favor Falcons. They are going to choose now to take their tactical timeout.
Não, coloca uma step lá pro Cyber, tá ligado? Faz umas turns lá pra ele. E o Souls também, em vez de pegar a Moze, pega uma trap também.
O foda é que quem vai fazer o trap?
Eu preciso de trap na porta do bar, tá ligado? Pra esses caras aí que vão...
Escuta,
deixa eu continuar. Isso aí no bombo da Switch. No bombo do bar, o Souls pega a Arune, a gente vai fazer a mesma avançada, só que o Souls e a Arune rodando um pouquinho a posição do KDS, tá ligado? Porque se eles fazem foco bomb, eles não estão trazendo, tipo, bagulho pra tirar você do KDS. Então manter ali, e se fizer foco capitão, pelo menos não vai ser a open kill do KD. Você vai gastar um pouco de recurso do KD. Fechou?
Tá. Escuta, Rafa, você acha que é melhor o Rente pegar a Torne e o Smoke, que ele faz as trap pro Cyber?
Pode ser.
Tá, bora.
Ah, pega a trap também, Souls. Bora.
Consegue pegar aqui que abre parede aqui, tem... Qual trap você?
Despite taking the win in round 4, FaZe clearly a little bit concerned. And to be fair, basically that entire round coming out of Souls baiting Vidiking on blue stairs as part of the strategy. Clash draws the attention, TCSG gets the kills. But basically only one part of the defense got any bit of focus in that round. Rafael clearly hearing some things in the comms he is not the biggest fan of. We'll try and game plan something different going into round 4.
FaZe understand the current meta for timeouts very well, I think. They like to take an early timeout. They know they're going to get the halfway point to just sort of freshen up for whatever that second side is going to be. They don't let the bleeding really start to slip. It's a very similar landscape to what we saw over on Clubhouse, starting to develop here on Chalet as well. No clash this time, but still some familiar faces. We've got the Ella, this time being played by Souls. Cyber, he's going to flick over onto a mute, and we are going to start to see a little bit of a Thorn action. We got it a little bit inside of round 2, but we are going to get it here in round 4 as well. Top floor hold now for FaZe. The Falcons It's all about how they are going to try and break this. They burst into the first couple of rounds. Users, massive 3K in round 1. Leaky Fact, really impactful opening pick in round 2. And round 4, he's going to get taken out. Cyber catches him short with the SMG-11. And Lion, something that is often banned by FaZe on this very map to try and keep people safe, is no longer a factor.
No, Vidiking forced out of the corner as well. Smoke, usually not an operator we see go down this early. Finds himself good fodder to the Blackbeard on Solar Window. Falcons trying to get back into things. We've got 3 players. A null factor currently in round 4. Joom not even using the shield. He's put it on his back, pulled out the scar, and I'll be pulling out cam duty for Brede for the next 2 minutes. Whatever gamble Falcons thought they could play, it did not pay off. FaZe quickly realizing the situation, getting a handle on things. We've got a repeat of Clubhouse for the moment. A big start by Falcons, a timeout by FaZe, and then a 2-round comeback in which it just seems like they have everything under control.
And it wasn't even the timeout that did that for FaZe. It felt like the timeout could have happened or not. It was the way that Falcons approached the round. They were just running at them full sprinting, maybe trying to embody a little bit of that energy that they brought in rounds 1 and 2. And this time, it just being batted back at the threshold.
You can see the idea from Falcons as well. Just trying to get some quick pace, especially at the attack timeout. As we obviously heard, FaZe paying a lot of attention to what operators they want to bring, what kind of setup, and a lot of operators as well that don't really do a lot of moving, don't really do a lot of sprinting around the map, a lot of smoke, a lot of the Rooney talk. And so Falcons, not even knowing that, decided to make the read to go quickly, and it's just completely stunted. It stopped, thwarted entirely by FaZe Clan. We now tie things up again, just like Clubhouse. This could mean we have another OT game for us in store. FaZe have the momentum presently in Falcons. Now the onus is on them. Bring this momentum back to make a compelling argument against the 2-time world champions. Bar in games from FaZe now. Another site we heard mentioned a little bit in the timeout from FaZe. We'll have to see what changes we see here, because again, it seems aside from Cyber, pretty much everyone's got the memo, and it is stick to the site.
Last time we saw Bar in games, it was very much just a straight run through. But the mission objective is becoming increasingly more clear as this game ticks on by, and that is that FaZe are going to challenge Falcons at the spawn. They are not going to give them free passage to the building at all. Leaky Fact even saying, let me play, let me do something, let me have a bit of involvement here. High spirits for the moment, but this is going to get to crunch time very quickly.
Especially losing your ace, things get problematic. Joom, player that needs to go big with these DMRs, caught with a nade in hand, somehow doesn't die. I honestly cannot believe Joom did not just die to KDS's MP5, but mine instead just slips back around the corner, plays the mezzanine position. Oh, safe and sound for Falcons out on the balcony, but FaZe still in the advantage. Again, KDS just popping in and out of library. He's got the shield to play behind, so can dodge line of sight against the attack for the moment. In a particularly difficult position for the attack to clear. You might have these magnets that can catch the bolts. You don't have a whole lot of secondary utility to burn it either, and so getting Usus activated by extension is going to be a bit more difficult so long as this is alive. But Brede, Smoke moving down below. Usus also joining Joom around the mudroom position.
I think because of the position of the deployable shield upstairs, they can afford to go for something a little bit more direct, but did not take into account Handy, who's just hanging around at the lower portion of blue stairs, and that is likely going to now be the round. Bit of an impactless kill there coming through from Brede, as he is able to get through the drone hole, but he won't be able to transition.
Oh, maybe not! He's been locked down by a Razor Bloom, but a 1v1 through the wall. He just sees the head again. Firebolt going out might just force him out of position, force Cyber to the left. This smoke might harm Brede just as much as it helps. He'll creep through as he regains all of his mobility. But it's an easy pre-fire for Handy and FaZe with 3 in a row.
Got a little bit real there, and it looked like Brede might actually pull it out of the bag, but then you remember who he is going up against in that final 1 versus 2. Very dug back. No need to overreact, no need to pressure. Just wait for Brede to make his chosen play, whether that's get the diffuser down and double push him at that time, or he tries to sneak his way on through the smoke. And the call was good from Falcons. They knew where the deployable shield was. They knew that there was no way that they were going to get harmed if they tried to just walk into the site, and especially going through that mudroom angle. But they just never accounted for Handy and Handy's position on that lower portion.
But by the same token, it seems quite evident that Handy had accounted for that possibility.
Well, guess what? If Leaky Fat dies first, where's Leaky Fat likely going to be coming up from? Probably garage. Probably up those very blue stairs, that very blue corridor, and it just opens the door and Handy can go, oh, great. Thanks, Cyber. I'll just play here for free, Chalet.
And so, FaZe continuing to show just how complete a package this team is. They've been a roster, they've been a core 5 for over 3 years at this point. FaZe might have been in major finals before, but this roster, while they haven't, they have shown their dominance, their consistency on the international scene time and time again, event after event. And a kind of thing like that, where the attack hasn't cleared out the top floor, are they going to go from basement? They're going to go from blue or mudroom. They've made these calculations so many times in the past. It gives them the confidence to go for that solar spawn peak. Got to give Licky Fat credit, still keeping positive, and thankfully, for all of us, no spawn peak going the way of FaZe.
I love how both of them are still going for it here. Like, this is an elimination map, potentially, and they're both just having a bit of a laugh on a spawn peak. A couple of points of damage put in onto Leaky Fat as well, and we all know Siege, one shot, headshot, regardless of range, you're going to be out of there. So it's dancing with the devil a little bit, but he'll get away with it for the first opening portion of round 6. No doubt there will be an engagement a little bit later on, likely between those two. But at least in the first minute, everyone has stayed alive. Preday has also made pretty good ground, already getting himself through that fireplace and already knocking on the door of this upstairs breach. Obviously, a hold of upstairs inside of Office of Master is pretty much required to keep control of Kitchen. Well, that's why Handy's there. He can place those Zoto canisters and just slow down this progress.
Try and keep the attack at bay as long as possible. Handy also facing some vertical pressure from player down below and dining. Does almost lethal damage to Usus, but the ace just escaping. Now Handy taking up an off angle on the office balcony doorway. June might just tangle with him. Got Deathmark trackers to give himself an advantage. Bit of getting flashed on the double window, but nobody actually on the rappel, so he's safe for the time being. Nothing to worry about. That might change as Usus moving up to the side of the building, looking to take forward angle. Cyber! That was the easiest kill of his life because of the work Handy did earlier, but Licky back in June. Just quickly hopping in, have taken out not only some important players, but the piano one in particular.
And Cyber making that run out. He's now known to be off-site. He's having to make his way up Solar and in through that area. He can try and push in a little bit through Bathroom, try and push a bit through Master, but there is a bit of a cutoff being held on this top floor. The site is downstairs, though, and now we have to see the transition here from Falcons. They haven't really got the bodies to leave somebody up here. We might see June maybe remain, but they need to make progress on the site here, Lynx. Otherwise, they're going to run out of time.
Gotta make it through. Creating some new angles in the wall is only gonna add so much to this Falcons attack. Licky Fax made his way in, cleared a new path, but the diffuser not in his possession. Neither player made it in sight. June's gone down up above, and that means the horizontal's the main factor left for Falcons. That simplifies things for FaZe, and the last thing you want against the best team in the world is to give themselves an equation that they could solve in their sleep. Brede and Licky Fac both just one bullet away. And with no time to go, Licky Fac will give it the good old college try, but Cyber around the corner! He's been here before. He's got the job done. He's given FaZe a 4-2 lead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, on attack, they are pushing at the same time, exact same time, so we should be ready to react together. I think we just play our game, like, what the fuck we have to lose, you know? Don't have nothing to lose, guys. If you guys wanna play fucking aggro, refrag, we can do it. If you wanna play for back, we can do it good as well. I feel like on attack, this last round is just like, the guy pause and say, oh, spawn pick. I don't know what the you know? And then last round, I think just missing was like the 3-1, you know? You just go at the same page, and that's what we need for defense, okay?
Yeah.
If you can explain the
yeah, I will just say, like, they always put at the same time, exec at the same time. That's why they are good on the map, guys. So when we see someone pushing, the other will push. Or there is maybe the jungle guy cutting. But they will all push at the same time, and that's why they are really good on this map, okay? So we should be ready to react together. They never put Claymore on piano and bathroom window, but they put always for library mud and big garage. So if you want to run out, you run out on the window. You don't run out mud or library, okay, useless.
Yeah.
For gaming, they either go master solar clear, as for, with one holding piano, like the combat from piano.
Não tô deixando o cara jogar, pô. Tá puta. E é isso. Não tem muito o que falar, não. E o bar... Bar é splitado. Os caras gostam de fazer aquela play de recuar pro CEO, só que, tipo assim, eles jogam recuando pro CEO, eles reforçam as duas paredes, só que eles peitam Tesla, pega drone lá, tá ligado? A play é pra recuar, mas eles ficam se matando lá na frente.
Vocês costumam pegar boneco de queimar pra ficar esperto com uma veca?
Então eu vou jogar de 4 né? Nenhum dos bagulho ele trouxe boneco de queimar, velho.
Eu vou fazer...
Eu já de 4 tá, Rafa?
Os caras estão mudando bastante o Club.
E o cara sempre joga KDS, então a open kill do KDS vai dar bom, tá? Se você começar a jogar com você. Aham. Ele sempre começa a KDS, eu faço aquela HS e dá pré-fire. Bora aí, guys. Bora, porra. Bora gastar porra. Boa, Cyber, boa, Sozão. Boa,
bora.
Boa, cadê? Aqui, vamos.
Vou ver quem são os bonecos da open, porque
Tá bom mesmo.
One thing I think it's worth mentioning that we heard in that TAC timeout, nothing really angry. I feel like every event we've been treated to like some kind of crash out from LickyFac, a moment where it just seems like the pressure's getting to them, where he's freaking out and everybody on the team feels scared. Falcons were laughing the first 30, 45 seconds. They were literally cracking jokes about Cyber spawn peeking them, and it feels like even if they end up losing this, it feels like Falcons have absolved themselves of the pressure that was really weighing them down on those past rosters and those past tournaments.
It was evident even from Julio, wasn't it? It was just, guys, I think we just go out there and have fun. If we want to play quickly, play quickly. If we want to play aggro. Just go out there and play whatever you think is going to be the best playstyle, whatever matches that the best. It was quite refreshing in some ways, especially for an elimination game, for a game that gives a spot to the semifinals tomorrow. I was definitely expecting a little bit more heat and a bit more passion coming out of there, but Falcons, happy to keep cool heads. Maybe understanding that that's where they're going to perform their best here as they go into what is undoubtedly going to be a tough half of Siege against FaZe.
Yeah, the issue with playing FaZe on these Chalet attacks is they basically play every style in the meta we have right now. They play shields, they play Deimos Dokkaebi Snake, they play more structured setups with disruption ops like the Grim and the Ying. It's probably on this map against FaZe in particular where the bans feel the most pointless for their opponents. Because you can take out important things. The Monty Snake, probably the two best bans on this map against FaZe unequivocally, and they can just basically play every style on this map that you can play for your own comfort because you're not going to play to disrupt FaZe.
You're still giving Cyber Deimos at the end of the day. You know, and if you don't ban the Deimos, you're still giving him Snake. And if you don't ban it, you're still giving him the Doku. You get the picture. You are always going to be giving them something extremely powerful. Handy, of course, on the Blackbeard as well. You had a fun fact about KDS on this map, didn't you?
What? I think
unthinkable amount of rounds on the Striker.
Something close to like 50 rounds on Striker throughout their like the past few months on Chalet. It's just so funny because it's like Striker just feels like such a nothing operator. Like KDS is picking an M4 flashes and 2 nades, and he's like, yep, that's my guy.
That's all I need.
That's all I need. That's my guy right there.
That's all KDS needs to get the job done, or at least it often is. Bit of a quieter showing in the opening 6 rounds here on Chalet, but kind of outshone by both Souls and Cyber. Early scan onto LickyFac. I believe he'll cleanse himself there in one of those mute jammers and can immediately get rid of that Deathmark tracker. But it's not stopped Cyber from moving in towards Solar side.
It's not stopped him. Jum and LickyFac also taking a peek over towards Piano. I was going to say KDS will absolutely be known by Falcons. He always plays this position, always plays it on this operator. So you have a bit of a decision to make as the defense. Do we try to go for a 2-man push? Do we just try to swing him on that window? But I think getting the information that Cyber's already pushed in, that Handy's moving in as well, they decide to fall back and rely on this utility. That Valkyrie camera could not be any deeper in the rafters if you literally put it in the building's foundation. There's no way that FaZe are going to spot that.
Still gets a great amount of visibility. Handy, he can get himself in towards this top floor now. Can start to remove some of this util, but a brilliant shot from Solotov, a player that's been quite quiet up until this point. He manages to land an important kill onto Souls, securing some more of those reinforced walls. Okay, some have already been opened, but players inside of Fireplace are going to breathe a small sigh of relief. On the flip side, you've lost Leaky Fact, you've lost that Solotov, that Soulless scanner.
Ooh, lost the death mark trackers too. Zoom picking up the pace a little bit. Some flashbangs flying behind him, an Ivy window, and decides to swing ahead. Turns his back at the wrong time, but saved by Uzis, and saves himself. Falcons always seem to start these halves early, but getting everyone involved in round 7, it's about as good a start as we can hope.
And again, the big contribution comes team-wide, but individually, Uzis hitting his shots, being in the right place at the right time, and finding those levels of consistency that we've seen him struggle with throughout Swiss and play-ins. Now is the time that we need to see players like Uzis really coming online. Of course, we expect it from players like June, we expect it from players like Leaky Fact. But big round there from Falcons at the side swap. Still trailed by 1, but FaZe with a little bit more to think about going into round 8.
Clean little lurk from Cyber. Those long angles were beautiful for Falcons in that round. Solotov with the first kill on that Thorn. Uzis obviously with that great double that we just saw. Basically just holding the power positions around Library and doing the absolute most they possibly could with them. That's a very good sign for success on these Chalet defenses. Something the desk talked about quite a bit is how FaZe make good use of those exterior angles. But for that side in particular, that's probably one of the hardest ones to do. You've got the library window, you've got the office balcony window, but you don't have necessarily the focus on piano window like you do. It helps the full clear. You're not necessarily applying a lot of direct pressure. And so for Falcons to basically not only avoid those windows, but also hold out around library, it's a great sign for that site going forward.
Fortunately for Falcons, they can't just play that one side. They have to rotate around.
Shame, isn't it?
And we're likely going to see the value of those exterior angles increase a little bit as the rounds drive on by. A little bit of a cheeky shock from the drone there as Doom actually catches a drone with one of his Mozzie pests. Oh, that's probably not what you want to see if you are stuck at the moment. Did go for a C4, but he's going to have to try and retreat back.
Basically, all he does with that C4 is keep the defender outside. No, there's nothing he can do there. And he tosses a nade through, takes down Zoom. Probably the easiest opening pick we've seen FaZe get this series so far. Leaky Fact looking to trade it back. Running out of support. Impact out front, but one player from Mudroom coming in from behind. Handy just clotheslines him on the retreat. A minute in Falcons could not have gone through a worse reversal from last round to now.
Night and day difference, isn't it? They've lost 3 bodies and they haven't been able to give a single response so far. Cyber comes in with the kill onto Bride and Uzis. It was only a few seconds ago I was praising him, but this is a tall, tall order right now. An ace clutch against FaZe, you just don't fancy his chances.
Especially with what? No secondary utility, 1 HP now. This is 5-3 for FaZe, and Uzis might as well just keep the ball rolling. Flawless for FaZe Clan. Completely erasing the last round from Falcons' mind.
Massive response there from FaZe. Round 1 not going their way on the attack. The difference, the recipe, didn't really change all that much. There was just a bit more of a focus on gathering that information.
Rounds, maybe not this one, but to be honest, guys, I think I would just fall back stress. We are overestimating the executes, you know? Like, the first round was so easy. I think they're probably gonna bend the solos. You can bring the Valk, you can bring Intel, bring the traps, just play together, you know? I feel like if you guys wanna aggro the first step, you guys have to be ready to beat 5 fucking players on the first step, you know? Because they don't care if they take 2 minutes to clear you guys. They're gonna clear you guys, okay? So it's up to you guys how you guys wanna play. But I feel like fall back with info to retake, or maybe like a lot of traps can be good, you know? Up to you guys. Okay. But if you guys wanna play aggro,
I will play traps this round, and me as me, and we play full aggro on their face. And for games and then we play fallback.
In fact, we're playing fallback, I'll play kitchen dining as over there.
No, play aggro this round, play recruit Bride.
Again, another hectic call, but in a good way. Quite collaborative in the Falcons paddocks right now. Talking about what they might want to do this round, and they will need to put all 5 of their heads together. FaZe collecting, creating a round like we just saw from Handy in particular, still having a great series. 9-5 might not be 20-8. That means he's at 29 kills through 2 maps so far. FaZe are playing at their absolute best right now. This might only be their, what, 6th map in the whole tournament. But they are playing like they have not missed a step since Paris.
It's the scary thing about this FaZe roster. They could get to the finals and play 8 maps. It's just disgusting, isn't it? Because there is just so little that you will have then seen of them to know what current form they are necessarily in. Such a small sample size. They'll have played less maps than Falcons have coming into this series.
5 seconds
It's not over yet, though. And Falcons, after their timeout, you would hope that they will be good for a round. The call from Julio, whatever you're going to do, just do it together. Because FaZe are going to spend that time clearing you. They don't mind if they spend 2 minutes of their time clearing out every single inch of the map because they are confident in their ability to execute. So how do you counter that? Well, you can play aggressive, but if you're going to play aggro, it needs to be done as a full 5. And that's where we've seen the gaps introduced in rounds 8 and round 7, and that's where we've seen FaZe take a little bit of an advantage.
When you've been a team this long, the rounds all fade together in proportion to each other. You can spend minutes, you can spend hours in total, slowly piecing these attacks together. It is all one and the same for FaZe. In one long career, how many times have they cleared stock? They just did this thing the exact last round. And so here, the Blackbeard jumps in again. You've got direct information on him, but uses giving more support. Trying to play like a full 5, and yet Souls downing 2 in the process. Falcons committing so much to helping that roam, and it works. They get Vidaking in handy. 2 important picks. It's better than what we saw before.
It's a 2 for 2, and you've lost your trap operators. Trap operators are great for the early portion of the round. You know what's good for the later portion? A Blackbeard. FaZe have definitely come off worse out of that opening engagement, but they've got time now to reset. They've got time to reposition themselves. Yes, they're still going to have to go up against Leaky Fack on the Azami, and likely a couple of Grismot mines kicking around from users, but it puts them in a much better position now. Falcons, again, it's about stabilizing. They need to remember what's been the recipe for success there. They've done it together. Reloading.
Play as a full 5. Buy into the same vision. It's the only thing you can do to win against FaZe Clan. No matter what that strategy is, you cannot be a split team. You cannot be a house divided against a team of this caliber. So Cyber, Z-ping on the Azami, will walk into the Goya, walk into the Goo mine. Will waste a little bit of time for the attack. They get a drone in sight. Oh, he's just creeping in, but spotted. Leaky Fack takes a couple damage, but gains information in turn. Might be a worthy trade. Because whatever angle Cyber could have gotten activated.
Time's running really low now. Leaky Fack, big kill onto Souls. Brede is still below with a C4 as well to deny this plant.
Can easily do it, whether it's Cyber or KDS, but it's gotta land. If players are dropping up top and Brede is gonna play down below, Usus needs to buy time, and Brede needs to buy a round. Oh, and a death mark tracker on the final player. He's been saving it the whole time. It hits his feet, and Cyber immediately clears out. Rotates all the way around. Just a knife in the heart of Falcons on round 9. Moving it into the post. Brede catches 1. No death mark tracker remaining, so Cyber just has to win this on intuition. Moving as far back as he possibly can. This TCSG is a menace at long range. It can be difficult to control, but if it hits Cyber, he is going down, and going down fast. So much time, though. Brede taking this as slow as FaZe take their attacks, and yet Cyber giving not a bit of information, not moving a muscle, not moving an inch as Brede trying, struggling, desperately seeking for some kind of ray, some kind of hope, and Cyber snuffs it out by just making him afraid, winning a round off fear alone.
Brede not even attempting the bait and switch there to disable that diffuser. A big piece of utility that was working against Brede in that clutch. A bulletproof camera, often played by Falcons on those main stairs, hacked by Brava in the opening portion of the round. All of that information just being fed directly over to Cyber, enabling to play as far back as he did. As soon as I saw him retreat, I was like, they must have info. There's no way Cyber puts that much space between him and the diffuser unless they know exactly what is going on. They have got info on that post plant. And Brede, he knew that. He knows the camera's been compromised. He knows that every one of his moves is being relayed over to Cyber. An incredibly close round, coming down to a 1v1. We've not seen rounds that close since Clubhouse. But now it puts FaZe in a very dangerous position. Match and series point.
So patient from Cyber in that clutch as well. The confidence to go that far away from the diffuser and just know you'll be okay. You just cannot get there without the kind of experience that Cyber has, that FaZe have, to support that player, to support each other. Falcons will get to play bar in games one more time. Thankfully, the site's now unlocked. But it's looking like this might just be a 7-4, even if Falcons get this. Because FaZe are playing like they want, for this roster, the first major trophy, like they need it. Like 2 hammers are not good enough. They have a little bit more to prove, especially as the last Brazilian team. Try and cement themselves as one of the greats.
Round 10. Will it be here, or will Falcons hold on for a little bit longer? Clubhouse is a very close affair. So far on Chalet, it's gone kind of as we expected for a team like FaZe with this level of record on this map. Users going to be a little bit on his own at the moment. Does that pre-day not too far away underneath, but does need to be cautious. His location is very likely known, and the drone will move through and start to confirm that. Just gets baited out of position ever so slightly, but he's nowhere to go here, Lynx.
Nowhere to go. You'll get aggressive on the window, though. Normally see them drop down the hatch, but uses not letting himself get too comfortable. Understands the odds at stake for Falcons right now. Understand that just one round separates them from survival and death. They'll take the aggressive line against Vidiking. Decimate the Capital utility. Joom barely takes any damage from that M4. KDS will fall off the window in response. FaZe, for the first time, it feels like this whole half really at a deficit. But Souls, a quick nade. Azami, she was destined to die in Library. It was a matter of when, not if.
Yusuf has done a good job, though. He's held on for a little bit of time, and he got an opening pick. Removed the Capital and all of the utility that brings. The diffuser, that's in a little bit of a dodgy spot as well, because guess what? Vidiking had that in his possession. So if FaZe want to try and plant this round, they're going to have to go and recover it. Fortunately, they've got the time to do so. But whereas we saw Falcons play aggressively and players all 5 together, they've regressed a little bit and they're a little bit more separate. Hence, Users not getting traded out there and just ended up having to play his life. Cyber now moving through the top of this office area. He's got a good line over onto Library. Just needs to land the shot, but he's getting peppered left and right now.
Just getting demolished by FaZe Clan as they quickly move into Ivy. Solitov needed to win it. Falcons just decide to lock in 4 kills in 1 second to keep them alive.
Falcons staying in this game by the skin of their teeth right now. 4-6, they cannot afford to slip up once. FaZe will walk away with the map and the series if that happens. Falcons need to be flawless from here on out, these next 2 rounds, to try and cement an overtime and give themselves another opportunity. They had an opportunity on Clubhouse, one that they squandered. They are not going to be able to afford to do the same again here on Chalet. So far, timeout from Julio has worked. They've picked him around, but they need to do it again.
Just the 1 round. Just the 1 round they picked up so far. 2 more times. 2 more defenses. 6 minutes against FaZe with everything on the line. Moving down to kitchen and dining. Falcons, who've been committing a decent bit to playing aggressive on these roams, to holding these power positions. It's worked on bar games twice. It's been really, really good. It's these other sites that have proven tricky, that have proven problematic when FaZe have a bit more room, it seems. Maybe to find holes in these defenses. KDS now marching over towards Ivy window. Same position, but different operator than we saw last time. Instead, him picking up the shield.
Maybe bringing the Blackbeard to the party right now. Some later cams being sent out from Solitov as well as Last Valkyrie camera there. Just going to be going in toward main lobby. Ooh, don't know how risky that is, June. You should do, though, because FaZe love playing that double window position outside. And this time, KDS is going to be even harder to shift from that spot as he's on the Blackbeard. C4 thrown out and shot mid-air. You can pepper that shield all you like. You're not going to get much of a damage onto it. Maybe a run out of bathroom could be more successful. But that seems a little bit risky, given the stakes right now.
Solotov just wishing he could win that fight, just wishing he had a better chance. Against a Blackbeard, it's not happening, and against an IQ who's caught you completely off guard, it's not either. Cyber 13-6 right now, up against Falcons. Another player will be lured in by the siren song on Ivy window, and will be just as powerless to do anything about it. Licky Fack instead on the Solar side, just sees the head. Soul's peeking a little bit, but instead sees the feet. He goes down. Joom as well. Users needing to face a lot of resistance, spots the Blackbeard, turn to the side. Users has started showing up on these defenses. And on this roam, he might just be the only player remaining.
The good thing about this is Users has dealt with the players that are inside of the building right now. The rest of FaZe, they're on the periphery. They're the ones that were trying to hold these cutoffs. We do have Handy at Snow Door. We do have Souls on Solar Repel. But they've got to transition. They have to now make a bit more progress.
Oh, Users needs to get this. Lands on the head, but just can't land the shots. Another attempt, and he still falls short. And so we come to Bride, who stuns himself back into the site. One player outside trophy window. 3 engagements, and he cannot mess up. Grim and Dokkaebi going for the double swing. Bride sees one, cans the shots, but he can't land the next. FaZe have made quarter after quarter. And unfortunately, Falcons are just another brick in the wall. FaZe 2-0, cruise into the semis.
They might not have played the most maps here at Salt Lake, but they have had the biggest impact so far. FaZe sailing through here. 6 maps is all they have played to get to a semi-final spot. Only thing now, who are they going to be going up against?
Well, who are they going up against? Seems like might be an NA team either way, given the odds that we have in the bracket, and that is not good for us. This is the first non-NA team FaZe have played so far this tournament, and unfortunately they fall just the same. 2-0 in the best of ones, 2-0 in each best of 3 they've played. Barely even any OT maps, just a couple thrown in there. FaZe continue to impress, continue to dominate the opposition. And whoever has a date with them in the semis tomorrow, I imagine, is taking a big, deep breath right now, because they'll need to get dialed in against an opponent like this.
FaZe are inevitable at the moment. It wouldn't be a major in our beautiful game if they weren't present throughout the course of the weekend. Let's throw it over to Ian on the desk. He's got KDS ready for a chat.
Thank you very much, X. I mean, FaZe Clan booked themselves into the semi-finals. You're just like clockwork, easy work. You haven't dropped one single map out here. How is everything so easy for you?
We are just playing very well, you know, like we are very confident and our team has communication very well. So I think this is the main thing for us.
Communication?
Yes.
You have been on top for some time now, of course. There's no denying that you are the greatest team in the world at the moment, back-to-back world champions. You've never got this done personally, KDS. You've never won a major. What would it mean to you to get one on the board?
I think this tournament would be very good for us because we are trying to build something only us have, you know. So we need this major and the AWC.
Are you going to get to the end of this event without dropping a single map and then raising that trophy?
I don't think so because there are very good teams yet in the tournament. So I think it will be tough to do only 0 maps lost. But we are trying the best and we are going to make it.
Well, you're definitely doing a good job so far. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for FaZe Clan. Booked themselves in the semi-final. Congratulations, KDS. I'll let you go and join the rest of your team.